Hello and welcome to the short presentation on how to do your own occupational health and safety training, either as an independent consultant and or an in-house training provider. After this presentation, you will be able to decide whether this is the ideal business model for you so that you can provide legal compliance training and or QCTO accredited training using the INTRA-licensing system. It's important to note, I'm not an attorney. This is not legal advice. This presentation is educational and for marketing purposes only. My name is Ken Annandale, and Penny Jones and I founded INTRA-SAFE back in 2012 with the primary objective of assisting people like yourself to either set up their own training departments and or become training providers. In this presentation, we'll be discussing our licensing model. To start off, we're going to suggest that you go onto our website and request the prospectus. Download it, print it, go through it with a highlighter, and make sure that you know and understand the terms and conditions and the wonderful opportunity that this presents. To kick off, we'll talk about the Occupational Health and Safety Act and its regulations and the different regulations that all require training. So throughout the legislation, you're going to see training, and that then presents a wonderful business opportunity. There are something like 17 million employees in South Africa, another 8 million unemployed who should be employed, and of the 17 million, some of those people are self-employed and some work in the mines. So the Occupational Health and Safety Act is paired up with the Mines Health and Safety Act, and this is an opportunity of significant proportions. So we'll start with Section 8 and Section 13 and ask the question, who must be trained and who must do the training? Well, Section 8 says that the employer shall establish the hazards and precautionary measures. It then carries on and says the employer shall provide information, instructions, training, and supervision. Please take note of those three words: information, instructions, training, and supervision. So the employer has a major role to play here. Then it says in Section 13 that the employer shall cause every employee to be made conversant. That's every one of the 17 million employees to be made conversant with the hazards as well as the precautions to be taken as and where the opportunity arises. When we talk about every employee, that is literally every single person who's employed by somebody else in the South African context. Now, what kind of training should be done? Well, we've got an alphabetical list here of training programs which you could, should, would have to train if that risk presents itself for that employee or in the workplace. Section 8 and 13 carries on. Section 8 says the employer must provide the training. So who must provide? The employer must provide. And one can imagine that the employer cannot provide the training because they're running the organization. So the employer may appoint a mandatory or a contractor. And it speaks about the mandatories as in people who will do the work for and on behalf of the employer. Now, that could be you as a freelance trainer. Section 37 talks about acts and omissions by employees or mandatories. That's you. So you would be a mandatory. And it says whenever an employee or mandatory of any employer or user does or omits to do an act which should be an offense in terms of this act for the employer or any such user to do or omit to do, he shall be liable to be convicted and sentenced in respect thereof, as if he were the employer. Very important to know what your legal responsibilities are if you want to take on this responsibility of being an occupational health and safety training provider. Now, we'll talk about accreditation and approval, but I'm going to kick off by saying not all regulatory training must be accredited or approved. That's a fallacy. So we'll talk about that in a moment, but where must it be accredited or approved? Well, when the legislation, either a section of the Act or a regulation, says that the person must be declared competent, that's when accreditation is absolutely essential. Who does the accreditation? It used to be CETA. Now we're looking to the QCTO, the Quality Council for Trades and Occupations. And it says there, the definition of employee, competent person says, provided that where appropriate qualifications and training are registered in terms of the NQF Act, those qualifications and that training must be regarded as the required qualification and training. And where do we find that? We find it in the General Safety Regulation for First Aid, the Driven Machinery Regulation for Lifting Equipment, the Construction Regulation for Working at Heights, the Ergonomics Risk Assessor, where the risk assessor himself must be someone that has attended an accredited course. It then carries on and says that this competent person must also be familiar with the Act and the applicable regulations made under the Act. So that's another red flag, because we know that people run courses, attend courses, and they aren't familiar with the Act and the applicable regulations. Now, there's more. The asbestos, explosives, commercial diving, hazardous biological agents, hazardous chemical agents, and major hazard installation regulations speak very specifically about the competent person. But surprisingly, the draft construction regulations that are doing the rounds for comment at the moment have removed the reference to the NQF Act. It still says that the competent person must be familiar with the Act and with the applicable regulations made under the Act. Now, what is a competent person? I'm going to suggest that you download this document off that link. It is produced and published by the Department of Employment and Labor, and it talks about who the competent person is and what and how we will identify them. Now, what if you don't do it? And what if the employer doesn't do it? Well, it says in the fines and penalties section, any person, that's you, that's me, we're all any person, supervisor, contractor, mandatory, employer, charge hand, any person, shop steward, any person who is guilty of an offence and convicted could be fined 50,000 Rand or imprisoned. Now that's per offence, and that's in terms of the Occupational Health and Safety Act. But in the amendment bill that may be see the light of day this year, they talk about a fine of 5 million Rand. So we're all any people, and we could all be found guilty of an offence. Now that obviously sets us up to make sure that employers know what they're doing and employees know what they're doing. Our motto, or one of our mottos, is keeping employers out of jail and keeping employees out of hospital. So that's why we recommend doing legal compliance training. First and foremost, legal compliance training doesn't have to be credit bearing. We'll talk about that as well, but it does need to be in line with the Occupational Health and Safety Act. So what Penny and I and the team did is we put together a business model similar to a franchise. And if you know anything about franchises in terms of the Consumer Protection Act, you'll know it's a business model that you can literally rely on, work around the requirements and or the opportunities provided by that business model. It means that essentially you would own your own business, run your own business. You would do it not as part of our organization's identity or anything like that. You can co-brand with us, but that means it's your business. And if you happen to be an independent agent, this is for you, your family, your pension, your retirement, and so forth. And this business model, we call a licensing model in terms of the Consumer Protection Act. And we've got 4 licenses: Starter, Basic, Prime, and Platinum. Prime is obviously our main one. And all of this information is in that prospectus document, which you're going to download off our website. There are 3 types of training material that we're talking about. There's the legal compliance training material that we, INTRA, have developed. There is unit standard aligned training material, which comes from SACWA, which, as you probably know, is being phased out. There's the QCTO material that is being phased in. And you'll see that when we talk SACWA, we talk unit standards. When we talk QCTO, we talk curriculum and codes. Okay, so having said that, remember, get the information so that you can see and understand this. It is quite alarming to see how little people know about this transition from CETA to QCTO. Okay, what are the courses that we've developed so far? You'll see 25 courses, and there's more under development at the moment. And if you look at those courses, you'll see that there are a number of those courses which are literally everyday courses. Every workplace needs it. Every factory, every construction site, every airport, every hospital, every restaurant, every hotel, and so forth. So to have a look at what's in the courses, we've got a training material catalog, and we detail the course content by way of headings in this catalog. And once again, you can download it, but you can also acquire any single individual training programs on our website and pay for that using your credit card. We're very strong on the fact that we want the trainers or facilitators or licensees or instructors to know what they're talking about and provide the very best training they can. So of those 25, we've got 18 that are available as e-learning programs. Let me use one example. For instance, ergonomics. We've got a program called the Ergo Track, and the Ergo Track you'll see in the ergonomics regulation, it's clear every single person must be trained. So we'd say you, as a facilitator, go through the training material, go through the e-learning program, watch the videos, get your HAZMAN certificate, which means that you've done all of those and you're a well-rounded health and safety manager. And then, and once again, you can do this online individually, and then attend all the webinars, seminars, online programs. We've got orientation, we've got onboarding, we've got a lot of webinars, we've got a lot of material on YouTube, which we're going to strongly encourage people such as yourselves and or your facilitators and team members to go through so that you are knowledgeable. I'm not suggesting that you'll become a subject matter specialist, such as somebody with a university degree, but you will be a generalist and you'll be able to run excellent programs. For the people that choose Prime license, we'll also provide them with 40, that's 40 SAQA unit standard aligned programs, which you can run. The courses are good, the content's good, although NQF, SAQA, CETA, NQF, QCTO, that whole scenario is busy changing. But fear not, a lot of good courses over there. And then we've got 3 courses that come from QCTO. So those of you that are familiar with QCTO, if you're a Prime licensee, this is a major part of the Prime license. Basic does not get this, but Prime does. QCTO talks about 3 levels: qualifications, part qualifications, skills programs, and those 3 are what make up the educational system. We've got 3 first aid programs, first aid responder programs, and you can see the credits and level. So it's level 2, credits 2, level 3, credits 5, and so forth. And if you know anything about the credits, you'll know that the credits indicate the notional hours and the duration of the training as such. Our big focus are skills programs, the short courses, the 1, 2, 3 day courses, whereas the qualifications are 1, 2, 3 months or 1, 2, 3 years. So that's a college. And we're just a training provider. We help you become a training provider. So those 3 programs are available and have been used very successfully for accreditation of some of our licensees. Now, QCTO has been working hard in the background, and Penny and I were part of a work group that allowed us to get a better insight into what's going on. During the development of the work group, they identified a number of new programs that are coming. The first 12, as you can see over there, are available, or will be available, I apologize, will be available shortly. But there is a lot of material over here. Those that I've highlighted in red, we've already got material, but it's not aligned to the QCTO curriculum because it hasn't been published yet. Only when the SP number is published will we be able to rewrite our training material. But we're en route, making sure that the moment the QCTO publishes these, we will be available. So what could come our way? Okay, so we're waiting for approval for these. They have just recently approved those 5. You might not recognize this term, a compliance insurer. That's legal liability. And you'll see there's basic, intermediate, and advanced legal liability. And then we've got an operational risk assessor. And then we have a workplace risk assessment specialist. These are programs that the QCTO will finish off, write out, develop their curriculum, and we will then be able to get accreditation for these. So we in a good space at the moment, getting ready for all of this. And we believe that this could be published in 2025. That's exciting, which means if you decide that you want to become a QCTO accredited trainer, we're going to suggest that you start with the first aid training program. We'll teach you how to get your own accreditation. There's more to come. And it's a lot of work that has been taking place in the background. And we'll notify you as and when they come out. We don't know yet. And at this stage, we don't have an indication other than they are definitely coming. And for that reason, we're quite excited because then we can get, as they say, your ducks in a row. Okay, so with that in mind, as a licensee, you would literally get the opportunity of attending the DIY accreditation workshop. If you're a Prime licensee or a Platinum, you'll get the Accredi kit, which is all the documentation, including the training material. You will attend the DIY workshop with Penny. You will learn how to do self-application, which is hugely beneficial because accreditation becomes very expensive. You will need to get your own CIPC registration, and the CIPC is getting a PTY limited. You'll need to do that on your own. You will book your attendance with Penny, and I do need to just quickly mention to you that the Department of Employment and Labour tariffs are not included in our fees. Penny will show you exactly what is required for the site visit, preparing yourself, preparing your department, preparing your team, so that when the QCTO verifier comes along, you'll be ready for it. Now, at this stage, we say to you, great. As a licensee, we will onboard you, orientate you, and mentor you. And we've got an operations manual, and we'll take you through the operations manual. We have a monthly orientation session, and we're going to invite you and your team to attend that. Then, as you start getting your ducks in a row, obviously marketing, if you're an independent provider. And our customer relations manager, Natalie, will take you through a process of setting up your online marketing presence. Natalie's got a degree from UCT in media. She's worked for a number of large ad agencies in social media. She has helped a number of our, or in fact, dozens of our licensees to get their social media aspects up and running. She doesn't build websites, but she helps you set up. It's also important to note that if you're going to be setting up a training company so that you can do QCTO accredited training, you're going to need a team of people, either full-time or part-time, and will help you find those people to the best of our ability, of course. Okay. Now, this means that within our own ranks, we have licensees from Cape Town to Cairo. I believe that we're currently in 8 African countries, but we're in also almost all of the major cities and towns in South Africa. So, for instance, if you need to do some training in Bloemhof, and you don't feel like driving from your home base to Bloemhof to do the training, there's probably a licensee in the vicinity that you can collaborate with, and you can do it for and with them. So that's exciting. Now, here are the options. The Platinum is 105,500 Rand, excluding VAT. And you'll see that there's an annual license fee. Now, Platinum is important because those are the large organizations like the universities that use our training material, or the large multinational companies or multi-branch companies. So that's the Platinum license. And there are a host of other benefits that come with that. You'll see all that information in the prospectus. Then, the license that we favor the most is the Prime license. There's an upfront fee of 49,500 excluding VAT. If, however, you decide that you don't want to do the accreditation yourself and you want to use somebody, it's 69,500, and we will then put you in touch with somebody who will help you with that. There is a monthly license support fee of 1,500 Rand, which continues for a period of 60 months. So Prime is undoubtedly the best deal. You get everything that we provide, plus the workshop, and get to know how to do your own accreditation. Then the basic, well, that's quite different. In the basic, you will receive the 25 training programs and all the new programs that we're bringing out, except QCTO. There is a monthly license fee of 1,500 Rand, 1,500 Rand, excluding VAT. Then we have a starter fee of 15,500, a monthly license fee this time of 500 Rand, excluding VAT. And we also say to you, if you wish, you can build up to this buying one training program at a time. So anything that is spent in terms of developing a business is tax deductible, very important to note. And anything that is spent if you happen to upgrade, let's say you go from starter to basic, basic to prime, and so forth, we deduct what you've already invested. And it means that you're not going to be paying extra. You'll just pay the difference between the basic and the prime, for instance. Okay, so where to from here? Strongly going to urge you to print the annexures. Take them to your attorney, take them to your accountant, take them to your advisor, take them to somebody who's been in business, knows franchise, and ask them what they think. There are 6 annexures: the proposal, the rates and fees, the license application, the legal compliance training material list, the SACWA training material list, and the QCTO training material list. That means that you're ready for question time. And either question time one-on-one, where you can give us a call and we'll chat to you via WhatsApp, or we'll set up a question time where you can do it with your staff, your team, your employer, or someone else via Zoom. I trust that this presentation has assisted you and given you enough information for now. If you're interested and keen and want it in writing so that you've got a proper formal quotation to take to your employer and or your partners, just WhatsApp 082 499 6911. That's 082 499 6911. That's Natalie's WhatsApp number. Or you can go onto the website and request more information. And obviously, we'll send you a quote from there. Now, my suggestion to you is do your homework. Do your due diligence. Make sure that you know what you're getting into, because I believe this is a wonderful opportunity. South Africa, we said, has something like 17 million employees, and all of them need to be trained in some way, the fashion, or manner, or means. And you could be the one that does that. You could build a business for your family, a business which becomes your lifelong income, a business which becomes your retirement income, or alternatively, if you happen to be a trainer within a training company or a trainer within a large organization, you can save your organization a lot of money. So with that in mind, Penny, myself, and Natalie, and the rest of our team would like to invite you to consider conducting your own legal compliance training by doing your own legal compliance QCTO accredited training using the INTRA Health and Safety license system. Thank you for listening. We look forward to doing business with you. Bye for now.